think you just really need resilience. That will really get you very far. Doing the degree with 2 kids and then having COVID was really, really tough. And I was doing some of the internships I was doing as well. But I think when you love nutrition and you love what you're doing, it doesn't always feel like work, but also presentation skills. If you've got a piece of coursework that involves a presentation, really get involved, because so much of my job now involves putting together presentations, giving talks, or even just having meetings, just really practicing, I think, having conversations, talking, presenting.
I think for me, just understanding your own boundaries. You don't have a lot when you're at university because you're purged in so many different directions and you're pulled from others and you're trying to work out, okay, what do I want to do with my life? What my work is going to look like? What topics within the huge nutrition world do I want to actually work in? Even though I knew that, I really struggled with knowing where my boundaries is, which is why I pushed way past them and had that burnout later on, because I had absolutely no idea. I'm never going to turn anything in too late or just had it done right before the deadline. I always gave myself time to prepare for things. Yes, time management and yes, resilience, but just understand where your own boundaries are. It will come so handy.
Communication is really key. Listening is great, but then understanding how to communicate it back to them. When you leave uni the first time, you think you understand how you're going to have to convey different scientific evidence towards someone, but then that's not how people absorb information. So you need to figure out your own way to convey that in a way that they're actually going to respond to. So just listening, understanding, and watching what they're already doing, and then just making small tweaks, because that's the best way to do it. So many to choose from. I think for me, it's going in too hot, thinking I know everything. It was too much too soon, and not only that, it's coaches, whether that's coaches, S&C, physios, they all have their own ideas and they'll all put those on you as well, and they'll expect you just to conform and just do it. I listened and it went against me.
I think on my part it was that I was like, oh, I've got my degree, I'm on clients. I don't know where I expected to have clients from. I then went into like panic, I've got to now make this huge effort to put myself out there, which is really scary, and make myself known. And I still struggle with that, to be honest. You really need to get those connections whenever you can and keep them going, like keep like chatting to them, make sure that you keep them warm, because just because you work with someone, then it doesn't necessarily mean that you can go and say, oh hi, do you remember me? Really need to keep it warm, be part of it, go to events. If you start doing that now, that would help.
Most of my work was sort of working on their social media. I think it's quite important because of all the misinformation that's out there. One of the nutritionists that I used to work for, her business was only a couple of years old and she really wanted to start focusing on the social media side of it. I think we went from below 1,000 to nearly 10,000 in a year, and that's all because of the work that we were doing, the communications that we were putting out, it was getting shared. I do think it can really help businesses, but I found, again, if you're working on social media, it's having those boundaries about when you need to step away. Now I'm not in those roles, or when I finished those roles, it was quite nice not to have to always go on.
Yeah, fabulous. Really do it. I still talk to him now. Do it because it's so good. And if you haven't got someone that's got the time to do fake interviews with you or practice interviews, they will do it with you. They have experience, things that will just get you through an interview if that's your goal. You have that really good connection for years after.
Allow way more time than you think you're going to need for post-consultation work. So you're there with your client, you're there for an hour. You gave them the food diary in advance, so they did that, they gave it to you. You go over it with them in session to clarify any points where they've just put one slice of bread. Even though you've made it very clear at the top that they need to tell you wholemeal bread, white bread, what grain is it, was there butter in it, allow more time, and then analyse it afterwards. And then put together your recommendations, and then put together your meal plan. For each 1 hour consultation that you do, you're looking at a bare minimum 4 to 6 to 8, sometimes 12 hours work on top of that initial consultation. And yet, in terms of payment, say you charge £80 for an hour, you're not making £80 an hour. You're making that £80 for that 1 hour and then all of the follow-up work. And what if the client has a question afterwards? Can they just text you? Can they phone you? Then you have to say to yourself, how much time is acceptable? It takes way more time than you think it's going to, so allocate that.